Hello and welcome back to Much Ado About Rugby, where we chat about everything rugby. We are back here with another episode, 2 days after our previous one. Pretty quick turnaround. We thought you guys deserved another one within the week because we've been so bad with it recently. But nonetheless, straight into it. We are doing our review of the very exciting quarterfinal round of matches that happened in the Champions Cup this weekend. So, without further ado, let's start off with the big one. The one that shocked the world of rugby. Well, maybe not me and Macsen, but the one that shocked Mal. Leinster versus Saracens. Now, Leinster were at home for this one, and they lost their 25-0 record of an unbeaten season by losing 25-17 to a very, very good Saracens side. Now, the match went down like this. Saracens went 22-3 up, and then Leinster came back, but it just wasn't quite enough because Leinster are rubbish.
What was the final score then?
25-17. Let's start with you, actually, Matt. Let's start with you, and then Max and I can just tear into you.
No.
Yes.
Go on, Mal.
Go on, Mal.
What did you make of the game?
I was pretty pissed off, not glad. I was really pissed off during the game. I don't know if you can tell by the chat. I was actually really pissed off. I really thought Leinster were going to destroy, but yeah, it really did not turn up at all. And
Why did you think they lost? Because
Why? No, I'll tell you exactly why they lost. Because Saracens got stupidly jammy with the wind in the first half. Got such a good lead. They just got momentum in the first half. Mate, honestly, that is actually it though. Because the second half, Saracens weren't really in it that much.
Well, you could say, I'm sorry, no, you could say exactly the same thing with both teams. Leinster just didn't capitalise on the win in the second half.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. Leicester scored more tries in the second half. Whereas Sarries,
but that's because they had to, right? Because they were like 20 points down, so obviously they were going for tries. Like they had kickable penalties with the wind. Obviously they weren't going to go for them, so they went for corners. So I think it's understandable that they go for tries. Like I think the main reason why they lost was because firstly they went down early by 9 points, which I think one of the commentators said is like a big amount in any game. It's essentially an international game, right? And like if your team went down 9 points, you're always chasing the game. It's like how if England go up early, they tend to win the game. And Sarries essentially play like England. And the second thing is that Sarries scrum just absolutely dominated Leinster's.
Yeah, that was something the whole game, to be fair, which Vincent Cox absolutely wrecked.
Yeah,
this is unreal.
This is a point that I would make actually about the game. The fact that Mal, you made the point to me on the chat the other day. We were talking about how Tad Furlong was a big loss for Leinster, and the fact they didn't have him probably affected their scrum big time. But at the same time, when you have like Andrew Porter and Cian Healy who are still international class props, you can't really complain, can you? When you're losing,
had a shocker.
When you're losing Owen Farrell the fly half, and you're expecting Alex Good to come in and play 10, 10 isn't even his natural position. Like, yeah, he's played there before, but he's not Farrell, is he? And he still ran the show. Like, he missed a couple of kicks as well. So if I'm perfectly honest, Leinster got away with it a little bit, the scoreline being that close. I mean, 8 points the difference, but it could have been a 10, like nearly 20-point game in the end. Sarries could have put another 10 points on them at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the main thing was that it was basically obviously they were starting Richard Wigglesworth, which some people didn't think they would, and they basically aerially abused James Lowe, which was like obviously that was obviously a tactical thing for them because the wind was also fucked. So in the first half, put up the hardest balls. Obviously James Lowe is going to struggle. Like he's not that good in the air anyway, and like he's got Alex Lewington who's pretty sick in the air, literally disrupting it every time. And then like one of them will knock it on or something, and Sarries will just jam out a scrum and win a penalty. But basically what happened.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that Sarries actually defensively were immense in that second half. I mean, they conceded 2 tries, but against any other team, if Leinster had played like they did, it would have been so many more so many more tries without the defensive effort of Michael Rhodes and Mara Toje. Now, Michael Rhodes got star of the match, which is, for those who are interested, star of the match. I've seen a lot of complaints about this on Facebook, saying that it's a snowflake generation and stuff. I think it's actually a promo from Heineken, because their logo is obviously the star. So if you're worried about snowflakes, don't worry. It's fine. But no, I think Mara Toje was a little bit robbed of that star of the match award, because he did play outstanding well. It seemed like he was integral in everything good that Sarries did, and he played the full 80. Like, he was actually world class. And you could hear Ugo Monye afterwards on BT Sport in the punditry afterwards. He was just saying, like, you literally can't, he's unplayable when he's playing like that. Like, line outs, he's an absolute menace. He's shouting and screaming. Scrums, he adds power and support. Scrums, he adds power and support to the props. Like, in the loose, he can carry. I mean, he's not the strongest carry in the game, but I wouldn't not give him the ball, you know what I mean? Like, now, I said in the previous pod that Billy Vunipola would be a real weapon. And if he played well, then Leinster could struggle. But it turns out that Billy Vunipola didn't even really need to play outrageously well. I mean, he still had a good game, obviously, because Sarries won. But I just think Mara Toje was the pinnacle of everything Sarries were about.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of carries, like, the reliance on Billy Vunipola was clear to see. So he had 3 times as many carries as anyone else in the Sarries pack, which is insane. But yeah, no, I think defensively, obviously,
I don't think he had that big of an impact though.
No,
I think Mara had a far superior.
He didn't have make that many meters, but like, you're not gonna make that many meters against like a Leinster defence. What was more interesting was how few meters any Leinster made because of the dominant tackles.
I'll tell you why I think that Leinster lost. I think there's 3 reasons. One is no, it's completely fair.
Mackie just rolled his eyes.
One is the scrum. If they absolutely fucked the scrum up. They did that. They made big problemo there. It pretty much that just lost them stupid amount of penalties, which obviously helped with Sarries putting points on the board and just gaining territory stuff. Second, what was it? Yeah, I think the wind. I reckon if it had been the wind the other way, no, mate. You are saying this.
They couldn't get over the game line. They were getting absolutely smashed.
Mate, you're not letting me say my point. I reckon if it had been the other way around, Leinster would have had a much, much better start. So Sarries had such good momentum, mate. They had such good momentum in first half, and that's how they piled on the points, because they literally had momentum from the very start of the game all the way through, because they had, and the wind helped so much, mate.
Okay, so you got the scrum, the wind.
Rugby, mate.
Huh?
That's why there's 2 halves of rugby, so you have equal conditions.
No, mate, you're not getting my point. They had the momentum at the start, and I'm saying
they didn't in the second half.
No, at the start.
The momentum literally. Leinster scored 2
but
tries, and then Sarries kept them out by absolutely dominating them.
No, but what I'm saying is, if it had been the other way, where Leinster had the wind on their side, I reckon they would have put points on Sarries. Yeah, and they would have had momentum, which carried and put them on the up, and so they wouldn't have been chasing.
But Sarries didn't go up because of the. I don't think you can say Sarries went up because of the wind, which is what you're saying, which isn't.
No,
true.
I'm not. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that.
If you look at the first 3 penalties they had, they weren't really directly related to like wind fuck ups. Really, the first one was in like the first 2.
No, but what I'm saying is that I reckon the wind helped them get points, which helped them give momentum, which helped them put even more points on. You get me?
Yeah, all right. This is boring now, guys, because you guys could literally argue about this all day. So, Matt, what was your third point? What was the third reason why?
And then the actual third point was Sarries' defense, was that they just got turned. They're like literally obviously Sarries were ridiculously good at turning over the ball, which obviously if you're getting turned over when you're like so close to the try line every single time, and they didn't go for the points because they needed the tries, which I think they all my points interrelate, because if they didn't need the points because Sarries didn't have the momentum, then they would be kicking for the points and they'd probably be chasing. They would probably maybe been a bit closer.
Now,
Yeah. Well, it's swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it?
That's what
Yeah.
Leinster do, though. Like they very rarely like kick. They'll always try and play. Like if they're on the halfway line, they'll try and play. Like when we were watching the Pro 14 final, like they'd play from halfway and make it into the 22 and get points every time. But like between the tens, Saris were just so dominant in the tackle. Like the only person that made any meters of note was James Ryan. Like literally the rest of the lot.
How many did he make? 20.
He made 25 meters off 18 carries.
That's not, yeah. And look at. Okay, so Itoje, I'm pretty sure made like not as many carries, but made about 10 meters or something, and made like the same average meters per carry. So you think like, you know, so I had a comment on Facebook. I saw a comment on a Facebook page that James Ryan completely overshadowed and outplayed Itoje. I was like, what?
I think they're just different. They're completely different. They're completely different players.
Yeah, but also looking at them statistically for that game, even looking at them statistically, Itoje wasn't outplayed or overshadowed by anyone really. Like,
yeah, no, Itoje was definitely the better player in the game. I don't know who's saying that James Ryan was better.
I mean, he had 19 tackles and 3. I mean, for me, it's the turnovers. I remember there was the one really pivotal moment where Leinster were attacking and Maro got that turnover on the ground, got the penalty, which was like, that was a swinging moment for me. But can we talk a bit about the backs? Like, why the hell did the entire Ireland backline just not turn up? Do you think it was as a result of the no forward platform, or do you just think
because I think Sarri's defence is just immense defence. Like they literally can't get through because Sarri's only put someone into the ruck when they knew they could win the ball, which is why they won turnovers and didn't concede as many penalties. So it's just intelligent defending, and then when you spread, so you try and slow down the ball as much as possible, whether that's rolling away at the last second, which Sarries do quite well as well. They kind of disrupt the ball, but very cheekily, so the ref doesn't really give a penalty either way. And then also because you look at the Sarries backline, you got like Brad Barrett, who's one of the best defensive 12s in England, or in the world maybe, because he's just so good in defence. He's almost like having another flanker almost. He's that size and that build, and he just makes hits and stuff. Yeah. So you've got that to begin with, organising your backs defence. You've got Maitland and Lewington on the wings, who aren't even that bad at defending, who play fullback for Saracens.
Elliot Daly.
Yeah, and you got him, who actually had a really good game. I saw him make a few tackles, because usually I don't rate his defence that much, but at the same time, like, he had a really decent game, kicked a couple of goals as well. So when you got that as well, like, that's another thing. When you have the wind and you kick those long range penalties, he had a chance from like 63 meters that he took. It dropped well short, but to even like think that he probably does have that distance in him, like, those two penalties are actually the difference, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I think also, you know, who also impressed me was, well, firstly, I'd say like Brad Barrett is. Sarri's rely on him so much. He's leaving at the end of the season, which is a massive shame. But like in defence for sure, I know I flagged up before the match. Like, he's actually unreal. Also, who I thought impressed, especially defensively, was actually Duncan Taylor. Because I feel like when you're playing Leinster or Ireland, like, they play loads of those out the back balls to like Ringrose, and yeah, like they'll hit like James.
Why do you not like Ringrose then?
Well, because he just doesn't pass it. He thinks he's a boss man. He's really
dominated by.
He did get dominated by Duncan Taylor.
Yeah, in this one game.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's the biggest match of the season so far. It is the biggest match of the season so far.
Yeah, the biggest match of the season. And I think Sarri's turned up on the day.
Leinster's players were rested as well. You had Sexton rested. You had Luke McGrath rested.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the rest.
So was Sarri's.
I think
because I feel like the other thing you've got to remember, okay, is although the Pro 14 we all know is shite and it is basically a walk-in for Leinster, Sarries have not had they haven't had to think about another competition because they know that there's nothing in them in the Prem. So if you actually look at their Sarries lineups, they've been like the young players who were on the bench and came off for like 2 seconds. So I do feel like Sarries, I don't know, this is obviously massive speculation, but I feel like mentally, that was like
Sarries would have been building for that game for time.
100%.
But also, sorry, Mal, you go.
Well, I was just going to say, I think going off Mackie's point, I think Sarries, definitely turned up on the day. Like that's the best I've seen them play in a long time. Not that Leinster didn't play like awfully, but they didn't play good. Like, but Sarri just played ridiculously well. Like and I think again, like I think they probably to do with the top 14, it probably got to their heads a bit. They thought they were gonna maybe walk it a bit. And I think it was just the fact Sarri's turned up on the day, because I don't think, like I know you say, I think the way, especially Mackie, maybe because you're a Sarri's fan, you're still talking as if that's how they play every week. But I think they just played ridiculously well yesterday.
Yeah,
big players turned up.
Yeah, that reminds me of how we like because obviously I watch all the Sarri's knockout games, and that's how I have always seen Sarri's play in the knockout games. Obviously, where we've won tournaments, which is why I wasn't expecting that kind of performance. Which is like, if you listen to a pod, like I really wasn't expecting that, given the players that have gone. But like clearly something was still there that like, I actually think Sarri's might win it now. Like, I genuinely think they've got like a really, really good chance. If they perform like that, like I don't see anyone beating them. Like, it actually reminded me of the type of performance when England beat the All Blacks, because it was like
it was so you know, Mal, you said it before. Timestamp 50 minutes 46 seconds into the last episode. I don't see how Leicester can lose this match. So you know, I think that kind of sums it up. One last point I would make, and this is complete speculation before we move on to the next match, of course, because we're doing all four in this episode, obviously. One final point I would make is that possibly because of the Pro 14 and because of the lockdown break, and because we know that Leinster are by far the best team in the Pro 14, as they've shown, maybe Leinster were lulled into a false sense of security that they were a little bit too invincible, like maybe the All Blacks have been in recent years, like in some recent years, and you know, sometimes the All Blacks just get shocked and stunned, like they did at the World Cup against England. They maybe thought they were like invincible or whatever. So it's just
at the end they were like, oh yeah, they've forgotten how to lose, so they just like thought they were just gonna win.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, but let's move on. I think there's so many talking points in that game, and we could go on for many an hour probably talking about it. We already have really this
such
weekend.
A good game, honestly.
Since the full-time whistle, it hasn't been non-stop chat. But moving on to the second match. Did you guys watch this one? It was Clermont versus Racing.
I caught part.
Yeah, I watched part of it. It was alright. I watched
all of it. Yeah, it was
what do you think then, Ed?
very, very thrilling game. Well, basically, Racing went out. I thought it was good. Racing went out in front, and it was almost like, what, Racing are going to win this. They're going to breeze it. Finn Ross had a really good game. Also, like a couple of their other like backs and stuff played really well. But yeah, then Clermont kind of got a couple of tries back in the second half, and I was like, oh, this could actually be a bit more close than I originally thought. But Racing almost held on towards the end, and there were a few yellow cards and stuff, which made it a bit more interesting. But at the same time, I thought, don't take anything away from Clermont in that game, because we highlighted him before the match, Damien Pernot. He seriously did perform well, and he proved that, like I said before, he is one of the best wingers in world rugby, and he played seriously well. Set up one of, like, go and watch the highlights, because there are some absolutely fantastic tries in that game as well. But yeah, I think basically the prediction that Macsen specifically laid out in the last episode kind of came true.
So what was the final score for that game?
36-27 to Racing.
Okay.
I saw so Camille Shack got man of the match. Yeah,
he had a really, really strong game. He was bouncing people left. Literally, his first carry of the game on his first carry of the game, I'm pretty sure he boshed someone and then ran like 10 meters afterwards, and everyone was like because they have crowds at the French games. They have crowds at the French games, which is sick. So you get a bit of atmosphere as well, and it's like, yeah, it was almost a bit weird seeing crowds back, but yeah, no, obviously not the most exciting game for us French rugby, but a good game nonetheless. Lots of French flair involved, and lots of nice long distance tries. So
how was Matsushima?
Matsushima, well, okay, yeah, he looked okay on the ball, but every time he got the ball, he kind of thought he could beat the man, and cut inside every time when maybe the right option would have been to pass it wide or step outside maybe, but he cut inside every time. And the one time when they were near the try line that he did it, he actually scored. So I was kind of like, so you do it 10 times and it comes off once and you score.
I remember at one point he also did it though in their own, like, near their 22, and they got turned over, lost the penalty when there was like men out wide. Like, the commentators were like, "This is literally the worst thing you could do in that position."
Yeah, probably,
Wow.
but no, it was also quite fun. I got to refine my French vocab. Because of the French referee. Well, it's quite funny when they, when they crouch behind and set for the scrum, instead of saying that, they do French and they go like blah 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 shoot, and they go like shoot. So that I found it quite funny, but yeah, no, it was quite amusing. So I think, yeah, hopefully,
that's funny, mate. Morgan
hopefully we'll
Parrott,
see a lot more French.
Morgan Parrott had a lot of carries.
How many did he have?
What do you mean?
0 carries.
Well, he's a
0
scrum
uses.
half, and he's
he's a scrum
40.
half. What do you...
He's like 32. He's literally 32, I think they said in commentary.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who did score a good try. Francois Tronduc.
Yeah.
And he's 31. He's good. He's a good player.
I've met
Trandouche.
Met him.
Yeah, I met him in the Alps.
No one cares.
Toulon do like their if anyone wants to go and stalk Toulon and Montpellier, they do their training camps at in
the Alps.
In Teen Le Lac in the summer in the Alps. Yeah.
Awesome.
Wait, where is it?
All right. Well, I'll make sure I'm there.
Tignes. Tignes.
Oh, Teen. Yeah.
Famous.
You can literally just walk up and watch them train and like meet them all afterwards, which is pretty sick. We literally had there's these natural ice bars, quite cool, like in the side of the mountain, and we went and I had a ice bath with Rene Ranger.
Naked.
What?
Totally naked, yeah.
With Rene Ranger, no, that is sick.
Yeah,
that is sick.
So sick.
I bet he thought, who's this Welsh dweeb?
Yeah, absolutely.
How old were you at this point? 12.
I was
So
about 14.
Awesome.
Turn it off.
Yeah,
cool.
no.
I just wanted to say about Matsushima. I remember, and we're going to do an episode on fantasy, but I remember in like the Six Nations not Six Nations, in the World Cup fantasy I did, like he absolutely tore it up. I remember having him in my team, and everyone was like, "No, he plays for Japan. He's not going to do that well." Scores hat tricks, tear it up. Obviously, Mackie Lambert wins the fantasy. So hats off to Matsushima. I thought I'd ask around. Yeah, me versus me.
I won my own league.
I won the league.
I won the league, which I set up for myself.
Yeah.
1 out of 1.
Cool. With all my friends.
Right. Moving on swiftly then to the next game, which happened just today, actually, at the time of recording. We had Toulouse versus Ulster. Now, I said before, Ulster had nothing, and what did they prove? They had absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Final score, 36-8 to Toulouse. And Cheslin Colby, how many tries?
2. He showed up. Stockdale is awful. He's not getting the line squad. I'll be pissed off if he gets in the line squad. So, Mackie, did you watch the highlights for Cheslin Colby's try?
I watched him get
stepped twice. Just
yeah,
awful.
It was
so bad. He was so bad.
Made me relive that Owen Farrell moment in the World Cup final. I was like,
yeah, literally was like
Oh.
that. Who do you think's even going to be able to tackle Colby one-on-one like that?
Mate, Rob Little, mate. That's what I was saying.
No, well, he obviously
didn't. In the what's this called in the Lions squad? Who's
There's only
going to
one
be able to
person
tackle?
that'll be able to tackle him. We all know who it is.
Rory McConaughey.
Step up, Rory McConaughey.
Genuinely, though.
Yeah, actually, Rory McConaughey probably could. He's probably the best defensive winger in Europe.
No, I think. In all seriousness, Johnny May could. Anthony Watson couldn't. Maybe probably he's not strong enough defensively. Jack Noel probably could.
Ollie Thorley probably could.
Might have to be Nolly, mate.
Shut up. But yeah, a good game in Toulouse.
Can we appreciate how many meters Antoine Dupont got?
How many?
5 carries. Guess how many meters he got?
100.
100.
123.
Mate. I think he scored a
He must have
try.
run the pitch. He must have run the pitch, surely, man.
I don't know.
I think he did. I think he
He
had
scored
one
a try. He
where
scored a
he ran it
try. He
in.
scored a try round the quite, yeah.
So funny. That's so
Mate,
I mean,
Toulouse are
No,
actually.
what do we
Toulouse are
think about
sick.
this in terms of Toulouse? Like, because obviously we know Ulster is shit. I mean, they're the second best side in Pro 14. Apparently, make
How?
it to the
How?
final because the Pro 14 is awful. But how do you think that's actually reflective of like how sick Toulouse are, or just Ulster's so average?
I think Ulster tried to play rugby. From what I saw, Ulster tried to play a lot of rugby and tried to spread it wide. Like they were doing a lot of out the back moves and like not doing badly, to be fair, making some meters in midfield. But then Toulouse would just turn over the ball. They try and chuck one too many offloads. Ulster would, and then the one time that it did come off, John Cooney scored in the corner, who was our one to watch for Ulster. So good shout him,
My
Malachi.
man,
Yeah,
Cooney.
nice one, man.
But yeah, I just think maybe they tried to. I think that's the problem with some teams. They try and play a bit too much rugby, and they don't look to exit or kick a lot. And I think the same happened in the Pro 14 final, maybe with Ulster, because Billy Burns started chucking in set passes and stuff in that match. But
Billy Burns also
I
got
just think,
injured quite early, didn't he?
yeah, I think so. But
Kind of
like, I just think Toulouse, being a French side, they had the caliber and the talent in their back line to be able to, and also in their back row as well, because Jerome Kano had an absolutely massive game. Like they could just offload, and against a broken defense, which Ulster's was apparently 99% of the time, they just kind of ran riot. Honestly,
Mate, Toulouse are OP. I don't know who's even going to win between them and Exeter.
Oh,
Like,
well, should we move on to the extra
Yeah,
game?
yeah, well done
Exeter
Northampton. To be fair,
Yeah, I agree
Exeter
with that.
machine, mate. Just the Exeter machine
Boring,
churning on.
boring, boring.
Yeah, literally just like.
I really thought, I watched the first half, and then the moment Exeter scored a couple of tries, kind of turned off. I was like bored after that, obviously. But after the first half, I was feeling kind of confident Northampton could make a bit more of a game of it than the final scoreline suggests.
Well,
So
it
it
was
ended up
14-10 at half time, right?
Yeah, it ended up 38-15, which I don't think is really reflective of Northampton's efforts, to be honest. I think obviously Exeter are just the kind of team that are going to score tries against you, and like they were boring as hell, but like they do just score. So in that second half, they put on another 24 points. Like it's
That's
just
so
silly.
boring, mate. They literally make, so this is their tactic, right? Make a jamming line break with yes, lady, run through, get tackled 5 meters from the line, pick and go until you score. Literally.
Do you see Noel's try?
Yeah, it was actually sick.
Did you see Henry Slade's break for the try in the first half?
Yeah, pretty sick.
One to watch, Henry Slade. He's actually world class.
Yes,
his
lady.
break and his step.
Slady and Noah are mad.
Mm.
Slady and mad. Slady and Noah sick.
But I think, yeah, like Northampton Saints, they went and got, like a few weeks back in the Premiership, they went and got absolutely, like, thrashed by pretty much the same Exeter team. I think they put like 50 points on them, and Northampton were at home. So to go away and even, score 2 tries, I mean, it doesn't look great, but I think they probably deserve more.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
I mean, if you look at that, team is crap. Like,
yeah, but you've got Dan Bigger, and everyone bigs up Dan
awful.
Bigger. Furbank is awful.
Furbank is so
he had the worst
bad.
game.
Mate, if you look at the rest of the team, like compare that to any other team in the quarters, just absolutely no comparison whatsoever.
Yeah, I think to be honest, Laws and Ludlam turned up today. They were they were everywhere and everything good that Northampton were doing. It's the same with Itoje and Rhodes for Saracens. Like Laws and Ludlam were kind of everywhere for Northampton today. And so it's kind of like the rest of the team really needs to step up into that role. Like even Dan Bigger, like he kicked okay, but at the same time, you can't just kick. You have to create something attackingly. He didn't properly do that today. And I think also Exeter obviously notorious for being just solid in defence. So with Julian Salvi as their coach, who recently retired, so he knows the ins and outs of it, 100%. And yeah, they're just boring.
Right, guys. So Impulse Exeter to lose. What are we saying? At Sandy Park.
Mal, go
Such a
first.
tough one.
It's gonna be a sick game.
Mal, go
I
first.
want to lose. Actually, no, I don't know. I want to see Sarries versus Exeter final. But I prefer to lose to Exeter just because they're way more entertaining.
That would be the most horrendously boring final on the face of the planet.
That would be
What,
colossal.
Sarries, Exeter?
Yeah, you got the two most
That'd be
boring Premiership
insane.
teams.
Nah. Mate,
No, I think it would be good.
I think Exeter are going to take it. I reckon they actually will.
Really?
the entire
Yeah.
game
I
just
think-
against Toulouse.
Nah, I think they'll beat Toulouse and then have Sarries in the final.
I think they'll lose to Toulouse.
Sarries are going to beat Racing. That's still quite a big call. Sarries without Farrell still. And I mean, how many big
Will they
games
definitely
can their
not have
big players?
Farrell?
I swear he's got a ban for like 5 games or something, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I think the next round's not for like 2 or 3 weeks, is it?
But will they have played another 3 or 4 games in that time?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, but
so.
I think it's going to be if Farrell's in, Sarries have more of a chance. But seeing how they played, I think they still have quite big chances. I think both semi-finals are very 50-50. I can't really call either of them, but impulse for the Sarries game says Saracens, and impulse for the Exeter Toulouse game says Toulouse.
Yeah.
I don't think Racing were actually like outstanding. Like, I think Sarries and Toulouse were really good, and then Exeter is just a machine. I just back Exeter. I reckon Exeter are just gonna sweat it out because
The thing is, Mal. The thing is, like, this is what I thought last season. Like watching the Champions Cup, with Exeter, they're so dominant in the Prem, and then as soon as they play a non-English side, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Come on, you're Exeter. You're boring. You score tries. You literally jam out wins every time. Why the hell are you not winning? Which is why I think like they're so desperate to win in Europe. I was reading like a fan forum, and
they've never got past the quarters before.
Yeah. They're like,
That's
this is massive for them.
It's
This
their
is massive.
first time ever.
We just want to win a Euro because
I would
won 3. Like,
I would still love to see an all English final. Like that's why I didn't mind when it was Tottenham Liverpool final in the Champions League football, because to see, like, you know, at the end of the day we are English and we like seeing English teams go well, and it does correlate very well for England when English teams play well, whether it's Saracens or Exeter or any other English side. So I think if those teams are playing well and they reach the Champions Cup final, it almost makes other international sides think like, oh, geez, English side's setting the bar, and it makes our national side stronger. So I'm rooting for Exeter, I'm rooting for Saracens, but I think it's going to be Sarries to lose in the final, and then from there I literally can't call it. I don't want to call it. I don't want to call it because I just want to watch it and be excited by it. And
what even happens if Sarries win the final because they're going to the championship? Because I swear if you win it, you are eligible to play.
They're not allowed to. You have to play in the top league.
Yeah. They'll be out, which is insane. Imagine you're the European champions playing the championship. Like, it's ridiculous. Isn't that what happened? Did that happen to like Wigan or something? Am I right in saying that?
So unfair.
Someone weird. Oh no, they won the FA Cup and then they got demoted or something in football. Still playing in something. I don't know. It's weird. Or like they played in Europa League and were in the Championship. But yeah, no, it's completely.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know, because they won the FA Cup and then got relegated. So they played in the Europa League, but were in the Championship.
Oh, madness!
Yeah,
that's jokes.
But no.
Who do you guys reckon your
player of the round
weekend? Yeah, player of the round was Tedder.
Well, Mal, why don't you go with yours first, since you asked the question and you've obviously got someone in mind.
Well, just Maritoje, mate. Like, I just think it's like, obviously I wanted Lens to win, but he was so good at his English.
Yeah.
He was immense.
Not Alex Good, my favourite player of all time.
No, shut up, Macsen.
Yeah.
He played well. He played well, but missed a couple of kicks. Toje made 0 errors.
Ed, you were like, "Who's your favourite player of all time?" And I said Alex Good, and you laughed at me. But you ain't laughing now.
Mate, he's still even Alex Good. I still don't even think Alex Good is that good. I actually don't think no, but Toje.
His try was insane. Why?
Yeah, expect that dummy. Mum was like,
All right, we could literally talk about this
Yeah,
for hours on end. That one match, because we literally spent about half an hour on that one, and the rest of it we kind of breezed over. But I think that basically sums up the round of rugby that we've just had. Really looking forward to the semi-finals. It's surely is going to be some of the best rounds of rugby we've ever seen, and also looking forward to the final few matches of the Premiership and the semi-finals and finals of that. So lots of good rugby to look forward to, and we'll be trying to talk about it as much as possible. So keep following our pages. Obviously, you've seen the new mascot on the Instagram and Facebook page if you've been following closely enough. We'll have a lot more dog-themed content as well as rugby-themed content. So just keep an eye out for that stuff. And thank you very much for listening to Much Ado Rugby, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.